I found this little truck kit. It's an unfinished truck with different little pieces for different seasons that you can stick in the back of the truck. So there's one for summer, spring, winter, and fall. And I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to start with the winter, and it's a set of 3 pine trees. And I'm going to start by using Charleston green. Now, even though this is a pretty dark color, you can still lightly see some of the engraving of the detail. And it just kind of gave me a place to start. So using some black and a very small art brush, I just started kind of just defining the placement of these trees, because they are overlapping one another. And I did the black around the edges. And again, I could see some of the outlining behind the green, and I kind of used that as a marker as well. So because these pine trees represent winter, I started by dusting some white around the edges of the trees. And that just seemed to kind of pull it all together. This one represents summer. And I started by just painting the entire thing with snow owl. Reason being is if I miss a spot, it's going to look less noticeable if there's a background of white. Or even if my lines aren't as straight. So now I'm using Higgins Lake to kind of outline the surfboards. There's a beach ball. And the stripes, every other stripe on my umbrella, I did with the Higgins Lake. And again, you can see faintly the lines that are there. So you do have a guide as you're going along. This is goldenrod. And then I went in with the Republic Red, every other stripe in the umbrella. And one tip when you're doing really fine lines like this is you want a decent brush. Some of the more cheaper brushes have flyaway hairs, and that's a lot of times what keeps you from getting straight lines. I did a little red in the ball as well. So now we're into the fall. Again, I decided to paint the entire thing in Snow Owl. And then I'm going to go in with Mandarina, and I'm going to paint the entire thing in Mandarina, and I'm skipping over any stems or leaves. Now, one thing I've learned over time is that most artwork is going to look ugly before it looks nice. It's going to look worse before it looks better. I don't know how else to say it. And I think a lot is just being patient with yourself. I really wish some of you would just try this. A lot of you say, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I really believe that you can. So now I'm going in with the chocolate, and I'm just filling in the leaves and the stems. And as you can see, it still doesn't look like much. But then when I went in with a Sharpie pen, because the tip is so fine, I was able to outline the pumpkins and give some lines in my leaves and stems. And I'm going to pull this really close to the camera so you can see. I did not do anything special here. And how it just pulled all together. This was the hardest of the set of 4. only because there's so much detail in it. So again, I started with everything was snow owl. I'm starting with some goldenrod in the center of each flower. And I'm doing all the pots in iron oxide. There's a shovel in there and a water can. And then I'm going to go in with chocolate. And that's where it's going to kind of start separating each planter, each pot, and giving them some definition in the rim. And you can start seeing the different ones. I'm going to use smoky quartz for my can and my little shovel. And I'm going to go in with some snow owl and just start outlining these items. When you start adding one or two colors, it just kind of defines your image. So the tin can, you could see I did some watered down chocolate, a little white, and it just kind of gives your item some interest. I'm doing the stems in dried thyme. And then I'm going to start filling in the flowers. This one's mandarina. And I just started by filling the whole flower in with one color. And then I went back. So I did the mandarina and the Republic Red. And then I went back and you could see I'm adding white to define the petals. And I'm going to go in with the tulips. I added a little white and then went in with the Republic Red so it wasn't so red. It was more of a pinkish tone and then outlined in the white. And this last flower, I feel like you can really see what I'm talking about. So this one I did in Bowie. And while it was wet, I went in with the white and defined the petals. Just so you know, at chocolateupfancy.com, you can find 2 separate kits of our 2-ounce paints that I'm using here. And each set has a set of 6 different colors. And it's just a nice way to give Wise Owl a try. And it works great with crafts the sizes that we have. They do last for quite some time. Now I'm going in and just adding some white to my dried items of the trees and the summer one, and just giving a little bit more definition. And here I'm doing that in the pumpkins. And it's just a little white line here and there. So now we're going to go into the truck. I'm going to start by taping the hanger in the back. And now I'm going to cover the entire thing in Snow Owl by Wise Owl. Again, all these paint products can be found at chocolateupfancy.com. And while the Snow Owl is still wet, I'm going to go in with my black for the tires. So they kind of look a little bit more in the gray family. This is iron oxide for the back of the truck. And now I'm just going to take a really fine paintbrush and just outlining some of the lines in the iron oxide. I didn't want to give this truck too much color because the things that are going to go in the back, I wanted them to pop with all the color that we just did. So I just outlined the door, and then I went back with a wet, like a dry brush almost, on the brown so that it kind of was more of an outline than a heavy line. I really liked how this turned out. So once everything dried, I'm now going to be using my Wise Owl Lemon Verbatim Salve. It's a great product. It could be used for many things. We can use it as a top coat on our crafts. We can also use it as a top coat on furniture, or you can use it to freshen leather, pocketbooks, shoes. Lots of uses, guys. And I'm just using my 2-inch palm brush, brushing on and wiping off, and then allowing it to dry. And that's it. Now you have this really cute little pickup truck that you can hang and change the seasons in the back of the truck. You can even hang this on a wreath or anything like that. I really hope you enjoyed this video. For other tutorials, go check us out on YouTube. You can now watch all our videos at chalkitupfancy.com. For any paint products, tissue paper transfers, or mesh stencils, chalkitupfancy.com. Thank you so much.